Well, today the Alabama Senate approving $5 million to fight the spread of COVID-19. This is just one of many ways the state is preparing.
Our Kelly Kennedy dug into what people are doing here in Madison County to prevent the spread of the virus. She joins us now. Kelly, what can you tell us?
Connor, Mike, most schools and businesses have plans in place in case there is an outbreak here. But for now, most people say they're just taking it day by day. Nearly 11,000 people in the U.S. have been tested for COVID-19. As of this morning, only a few dozen tests had been run by the Alabama Department of Public Health. According to the ADPH, they have, quote, an adequate amount, unquote, of test kits and say people are being tested daily. Huntsville Hospital told us this morning they have no patients in quarantine for COVID-19, but are prepared for it.
If this happens here, our emergency departments are prepared to take care of these patients, and our physicians' offices are. They're asking patients about their travel history, and if they've been in contact with anybody with a confirmed COVID-19 illness, and if that's the case, we'll definitely isolate those patients.
Area nursing homes require visitors to wash their hands when they arrive and when they leave. Local schools are also taking precautions like making sure classrooms are cleaned thoroughly. As of right now, no school systems in Madison County plan to close schools. Madison County School Superintendent Alan Perkins sent out a letter yesterday stating, if we become aware of a risk of exposure, we will take steps to limit or temporarily cancel extracurricular activities. Other organizations like the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and the Huntsville Havoc say they will operate normally and are taking things day by day.